wonderful day we're experiencing here in the Rock City, Abeokuta. Welcome to Your Image, your public relations program. This time around, we're looking at elections in Nigeria, challenges and issues of acceptance. When we look back, this about the 7th consecutive general elections we're witnessing in Nigeria, and we are glad that there has been a sustained effort to have a democracy that is enduring. Well, today we're going to look at how has it been, how have we been able to go through the travails of election in Nigeria. Of course, we thank God that things are still shaping up. Technology-wise, things are shaping up. And when we also look at the participation level, when we look back compared to some years back, of course, Nigeria currently has 220 million people. And in 2019, when we look at those people who really voted, we had about 34.75% of the total people who registered. But when you compare with what has happened this current general election, we can see that the percentage has reduced to 29%. What are the reasons? What are the challenges? Of course, I have with me Professor Olaoye Atayeshe. Is a social commentator and public analyst, and also lecturer at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you are part of the nation for some years, and you are witnesses to all that had happened in the past. Of course, we say this is the 7th consecutive general election that we are witnessing in Nigeria, and yet we have some challenges. What are the main reasons confronting us when we have general elections?
Well, there are so many points that one can raise around this question. There is what we call general discontent. In other words, the generality of Nigerians don't actually believe seriously in the process that we are, currently undertaking.
That their vote will not count?
Exactly. And these have been on for so long. Previous elections have also proven this, to the extent that one of our presidents that was elected some time ago described it as personal election as flawed. That was President Moro Yaradua. And he promised that he was going to do something. But unfortunately, he died within 2 years of taking over the responsibility of governing the nation. And since then, efforts have been made by successive government. I remember Comrade Oshiomhole, spearheading the campaign for one man, one vote and things like that, over the years. But this apathy is still also there. The last election would have made a lot of difference, because to me, from my own personal assessment, the commission really tried to make the election as transparent as possible. But they failed in one part. They did not embark on enough enlightenment of the citizens. You see, an election is the heart of governance. If an election is credible, everybody, every citizen would want to be part of such an exercise.
So for 23 years, unbroken record, are people still not having trust?
Up till this moment, they are still not having trust. This last election would have made a difference, like I said, if the INEC had embarked on enough advocacy, enlightenment of the citizenry. Why did I say this? I did not know that I would not spend more than 20 minutes at my polling booth. Yeah, I didn't know, because my polling booth is about 6 kilometers away from where I lived. So what I did was, in view of the fact that they said I was going to be curfew, I had to carry my load, put lunch bag, carry my wife, and we went there. So it was when we got there that the polling officer was telling us that after accreditation, we'll vote immediately. I'm telling you, we didn't spend 30 minutes. And we left, went back home.
And that was a smooth process?
Very smooth. We went through the BFAs and whatever process. And let me also tell you that when I didn't believe until I tried it. The election result paper of my polling booth, you won't believe it, is still on the INEC server as we are talking. Okay. How else can an election be transparent? Okay. But because they did not carry out enough public enlightenment on this, and that is one of the reasons why we're having the problem we're having. Well,
thank you so much, Professor Taishi. Let me also welcome our midst, Professor Onyekwere Nwago. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Professor Nwago is a philosopher, and of course, that can be said that he is a member of the Philosophers Association of Nigeria. We learned that the philosophers are great thinkers.
Yes, that's true. I can attest to that.
You can attest?
Yes, I can attest to that.
And
we have a great one around us there.
Okay, and he is also a member of Peace and Conflict Studies, Peace and Conflict Resolution Studies
Yes.
in Nigeria. Prof, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, listeners and viewers.
You met us discussing elections in Nigeria,
Yes.
challenges and issues of acceptance. And of course, you are old enough, and I know as a philosopher, you will have gone through a lot of history to be able to put you in a stable situation to enlighten us. What is your own take concerning the challenges we face in Nigeria concerning elections?
Well, the challenges are numerous. Some are deep.
Are deep?
Yeah, some of them are deep, and some are not so deep.
Okay.
The deep ones particularly will have to do with what I call, it has to be with the Nigerian nation state.
The peculiarities?
Well, you may call them peculiarities. I agree with you on that. If we look at the way we come to form the Nigerian federalism and the way we have been practicing it, it does not, the Nigerian federalism does not conform with the standard norms of federal states. One thing, federal unions are formed either from below or from above. It is formed from below when the people agree to form a union. Maybe people who were not at the time one nation, one country, they decide that for some reasons it will be to our advantage. If we come together, we will have a bigger market, then there will be economic benefits, it will increase our military strength, it will also, there will be economy of scale, there will be a lot of advantages that are derivable from having such a big state.
Are these not happening?
No, they are not happening. So that is federation from below, where the people on their own choose to be one. Then on the other hand, you have federalism from above, where it is an imposition. It is an imposition by maybe a colonizing power. It can take place even against the will of the people. And that was exactly what happened. I remember reading an article written by Professor Ike Nanzemiro, who said that Nigeria died in 1951. Perhaps.
But we are still living.
we are still living. They're talking of the concept of the nation state, Nigeria, not that individuals that form the group will all be dead. That as at that time, even that was before independence. So as at that time, even the people who were supposed to be fighting for Nigeria's independence were not convinced about the Nigeria's independence. That was about the time they had the Zikist movement. So there was the Zikist movement. Okay. And when the Nigerian youths who constituted the vanguard, known as the Zikist movement, went to Azikiwe and said, declare independence, the youths are behind you. He didn't have the courage. He was lily-livered. The youth said, no, for this reason, let us look for another leader who has a nationalistic stature. And at that time, they didn't find another person. Zik was the only person that was truly Nigerian among those who were fighting for Nigeria's independence. So, but he was really livid. He didn't have the courage. So people came together, and the people formed a union where every other ethnic group is always working for its benefits, for its own advantage, and trying to take the advantage of others. So if we form a union where you want to take advantage of the group, I want to take advantage of the group, he wants to take advantage of the group, nothing definitely will work. So they were because, yes. So that is why I said it is deep and it is superficial. And no group have actually made a conscious effort to create a real nation state. So that is where the problem.
Perhaps it is imagined now. Well,
imagine. If you say so.
I said perhaps it is imagined now.
Imagine how.
The concept of true federalism will emerge soon.
Well, honestly, I'm not sure whether we can have true federalism very soon. But I know if we continue like this, one day we'll get there. But you see, there's one concept that whenever I hear from my colleagues, from people, that I don't feel comfortable accepting. And it's one of the concepts that Prof just presented to us now, that Nigeria died in 19...
I put it Canaan Zebel.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, because you believe in what you want. Yes, because you believe in it. You don't reference what you don't believe in.
You can reference to refute.
But you can also reference... But you support your point. You see, we had enough time between 1960 and 66 to go the way we wanted to. Because at that time we had what we call regional governments. And to the best of my knowledge, each of these regions was doing very, very great. They were doing so great to the extent that we had records of nations, even outside Africa, getting one form of support from Nigeria. It may not be technological support, but agricultural and some forms of other support. And I have seen a number of documentaries of our past leaders and the way they were respected, even as far as the United States, United Kingdom, because of the potential of the nation. But we scuttled it ourselves.
Why? Why did we scuttle it?
Honestly, I may not really be able to say much because I'm not a military man. The military people did it. The military did it. And since then, we've not been able to find our footings.
Okay, thank you very much. Prof, can you give us an assessment of the presidential election that we just had?
The presidential election we've just had is flawed by process.
Okay.
So that was the INEC talked so much about the beavers and IREV.
But is BVAS the only tool that was deployed by INEC? Because I'm asking that question because when we look at the other tools deployed, the voters register was still maintained. When you provide your PVC, it will be checked. BVAS will look at it, accredit you, and at the end of the voting, total of voters were aggregated. Every party agents will sign. Does the use of BVAS or no use of BVAS constitute failure of the
BVAS was not the only instrument, but it was the innovation. All the other facilities or instruments you have mentioned were there in the past elections, and they marketed the BVAS so much. They told us it was the game changer. They told us it is what will give us a new leaf, that from now on, election rigging and vote buying were going to be things of the past. So BVAS was introduced as a game changer, and they marketed it in such a manner that made people have high hopes. But those hopes were dashed.
But the question
Can I come in, please? That's why I said the enlightenment on the part of INEC was not good enough. As enlightened as I think I am, I didn't know the process until I got to that place. If INEC had carried out comprehensive enlightenment on the process, I am telling you, those that are discrediting the election would not. What do I mean? BVAS is just a tool to transmit election results. Okay. You know, the computer people will call it real time. As results are coming in, you are seeing it. Exactly. But the thing failed. It's a technology. It can fail anywhere. It has failed in America before. So because it failed does not make the election not credible.
Not credible?
Yeah, it doesn't make it not credible. Because the original data is still available, and that's what I was saying. I was telling you that even up to this moment, the result of your polling booth, you can check it online to find out whether what was eventually uploaded is the same thing as what you had there.
Prof, perhaps you have
No, the issue is, he has said they didn't market it well. Okay. So perhaps he knows the things they ought to have said, which they did not say. But I am saying that this was what they sold to the public. They told us it was a game changer. Questions were asked, the possibility of success, and they said it was. They guaranteed almost 100% certainty. They didn't put a rider. They didn't give the impression that, okay, and every other thing, you know, the electoral voters accreditation and every other structure was already there. But they said this is what is going to make a difference. This is going to prevent all the flaws of the past. That's why I said there was a structural flaw. The process was flawed. So I don't know, well, I do not know, but he said they didn't. If they had noted that a technology can fail, okay, and what they
there will be no way that they will understand that the technology will fail.
No, I mean, let me also come in here. BVAS actually did the work it was supposed to do. Okay. In the previous election, you would go there, you go through one list like this, a long list. You may spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes and say you still not get your name. But with BVAS, just present your card, just like an ATM, slot it in there, they'll type it, and your name will come out. They'll see your picture and everything. I think that's an innovation that really.
So what are the lessons that we've learned now?
Well, the lessons we've learned, you know, one, you see, if you don't, of course, if you have experts, I mean, when you look at every technology, there is certain degree of reliability. Now, what you come and so on and so forth, collation of result, that is where you actually have the problem. And the reason you ought to photograph and transmit to the IREV was to give the impression that there was no tampering. You could have also have slotted in your card, everything came, and collation in the process, it could have been doctored. So, it is one thing to be honest, and it is another thing to live above the suspicion of dishonesty. If in your activities you do not live above the suspicion of dishonesty, somebody accusing you cannot be totally faulted.
Yeah. Well, I want to agree with you that when the unexpected happens, it takes the authority, the organization responsible to deploy the materials, equipment, and the like to prove that they didn't compromise. Well, we will continue with our discussion next week, and when we come back, we'll be looking at issues of this technology. We'll also be looking at the issue of objectivity on individuals, on the players, the presidential candidates, on the press, and we also look at the issue of fast-checking. Well, viewers, this is where we're going to end this chat today. It's been wonderful having Professor Yekere Nwaogo. He's a professor of note, a scholar, and a philosopher. Of course, he's a great thinker, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Mr. Presenter, and thank you, viewers.
Professor Adachi, it's also nice having you around. I hope next week you'll be with us.
Inshallah.
Thank you
very much.
This is how we can limit ourselves to containing the discussion. They are loaded, but we will take more of their reasonings, of their dispositions to the election. Thank you so much for being with us. Until next week, please do have a nice time. Remember, it is your civic responsibility to go out and vote. Remember, we're still having the governorship and the House of Assembly election. Come March 18, please go out and do your civic responsibility. Until that time, see you. Bye.